Can you tell us a little bit about how you really got into political activism for Tibet and who influenced you?
It was His Holiness. His Holiness grabbed me and said, I remember it was in Bodh Gaya, and I, of course, when you start to get involved with the Tibetans, you understand a bit of their history anyhow, and certainly you know their present situation as exiles and the present situation inside of Tibet. But I remember being in Bodh Gaya, and I was actually on the way to the train, and leaving Bodh Gaya, and one of His Holiness's attendants came to me and said, His Holiness would like to see you. And I had met him briefly 2 times before that. The one time in Dharamsala, another time in Rechard, Switzerland, at the Kala Chakra there. In, when was that, 84, 85, 6, 86, I think it was. And then, so anyhow, I was delighted and quite nervous, as we all are when we're going to see His Holiness. And so I came into his rooms on the 2nd floor of the Gompa there. And I remember him moving through the room. I was brought into the room, I was told to sit down, and he came from the back room. And I don't know why I thought this, but he wasn't dressed like the Dalai Lama anymore. He felt like a young prince, as one would almost imagine the young Shakyamuni. He was a young prince moving through the space. And I remember the sun was coming through the windows in my eyes, and he went to the blinds and adjusted the blinds so it wasn't in my eyes. And we sat down and he talked for quite some time, but the gist of what he was saying to me is, we Tibetans, we need our friends in the West. We can't do this by ourselves. We need friends. And he said, will you be our friend?
Okay.
It's very emotional for me.
Yeah.
So I said, of course I'd be your friend. And I remember he took a coin, and a gold coin, he said, this is very precious. He said, this belonged to the 13th. And he put it in my hand, and he pushed it into my hand, and he closed my hand around the coin. And next thing I know, I was back outside of the big doors of the Gompa. And Chungla Rinpoche, who had brought me there, was waiting there. And he took me to a side room, and he could see that I was quite emotional about this experience. And I opened my hand, and there was a coin there, and he said, did His Holiness give it to you with his own hand? And I said, yes, no. Did he give it to you with his own hand into yours? And I said, yes. And he said, ah. And he went and he got some beautiful fabric. I remember this so clearly. And he opened the fabric, he took the coin and he put it in the fabric. And he spent maybe 10 minutes wrapping up this coin perfectly. Perfect and beautiful. And then he gave it to me and said, this is precious, you be careful with this. And of course I still have that.